Okay, the meeting is now live, Chair.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the final schools forum of this academic year. So I'm Dave Jones and I'm chairing the meeting today in David Japes' absence. Members of the public are invited to view this meeting online and the meeting is recorded. Forum members are requested to keep their microphones on mute and to only turn these on when they're called to speak. If you have any questions or comments to make on the reports, please use the chat function and simply state RTS, that's request to speak, and I will do my best to keep an eye on that and let you all in. So we'll start, if I can have a list, if I can check everyone who's taking part today to confirm their presence. So if I go through my list, I've seen Jackie Collins is here, I'm here, David Japes is sending his apologies, Cher Dawes here.
Yes.
Jason Crouch is here. Joe Cooper. Do we have Joe Cooper? Not at the moment. Laura Flitton is here. I can't see Anne Hibbard. No. Or Victoria Page, but we weren't sure of that anyway. So I can't see Victoria. Sean Preston has given his apologies. Nathan Waits.
Afternoon.
You're there. Nis is just coming in now in the lobby. So hello, Nis. Chris Pennell. No, Caroline Corcoran I've seen.
Yes, yeah.
Susie Horton, Councillor Horton. I can't see at the moment. Councillor Claire Udy. No. Councillor Judy Smythe. No. Councillor Lynn Stagg I've seen. Hello, Lynn.
Yes, hi.
Councillor Terry Norton.
He sent his apologies.
Okay. Simon Barrable. No. And Cara Jewell. I think I've seen you.
Yeah, I'm here, thank you.
So we have Alison Edgerton here as the officers now.
Yes.
Alison Jeffrey. Can't see Alison. No. Angela Mann is here. Mike Stoneman, you're here.
Yeah, I'm here.
Jane is doing all the important stuff for us. Is there anyone who I haven't mentioned?
I'm here, Dave. Debbie Anderson.
Sorry, Debbie, not my list. Oh, and did I see Sam Galloway come in while I was talking? Yeah, I can see.
Yeah, I'm just an observer. So
Brilliant. Okay, Alison, any apologies that we haven't mentioned that I've missed?
I'm not too sure, so I'll go through them anyway, just to make sure
you.
for clarity. So we've had apologies from David Japes, Sean Preston, Councillor Terry Norton, Sharon Burt and Chris Pennell.
Okay, thank you. Declarations of interest. Alison, are there any outstanding?
I've got one outstanding from Chris Pennell, and I've got some new declarations to send out to people who have extended their tenure or are new to the forum.
Okay. And does anybody here need to declare an interest in anything that's going on today? No, that's great. So item number 3, membership changes. Alison.
Okay, so we've got a number of membership changes. We have a new member of Anne Hibbard who will be joining us hopefully at the next meeting. That means that I potentially have one primary academy vacancy but I do have a head teacher that's interested, so I'll hopefully follow that up in time for the next meeting. So welcome to all new members. I think, Laura, this is your first proper meeting as a member, and so is it for Caroline as well. So welcome. It's nice to see you on board. We've got tenures that have coming to an end. So we've got Dave Jones, your tenure is due to come to an end at the 10th of July. You've agreed that you'd like to extend it, and all the maintained primary schools in the city have come back and confirmed that. So Dave will continue his tenure within the forum. However, because Dave is vice chair, when his current tenure comes to an end, the vice chair post is vacant. Dave has indicated that he would be happy to continue as vice chair unless there are any other forum members who would like the post in the future. So when we come to the meeting in October, we will have to vote at our next meeting for the vice chair. So if anybody is interested, can you please let me know?
Have a real good think about that. Right, it's a lovely job.
You do it very well, Dave. And as I said, we've got one secondary academy representative vacancy. And as I said before, we've got one potential primary vacancy, which I'm hoping we should be able to fill once I'm able to follow up with the head teacher. And I don't know if anybody's got any questions on membership. No? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Alison. Okay, so item 4 is minutes of the previous meeting. So we need to ensure this is a correct record of the meeting held on the 26th of May. Rather than go through page by page, are members happy with these as a correct record? Okay, there's no, everyone is approving then. So the minutes of the previous meeting have therefore been approved, and there are no matters arising from the previous meeting, which is wonderful. So on to item 5, which is a dedicated schools grant outturn, and this is for noting. And this is over to you, Angela.
Thank you. So hopefully everybody's read the report. So it doesn't seem 5 minutes ago since we were doing the quarter 3 forecast, but the table at 5.1 shows the variations against the revised budget and the outturn, and it shows that overall there was a projected underspend of 2.9 million, which left a carry forward of 5.5 million going into 21-22. The report outlines the known commitments against this carry forward, and it also highlights the areas that are still unknown, and that includes uncertainty over the funding amount for early years DSG, which we'll know in July. That gets calculated for spring based on the January census, but we don't actually know what that will mean for the funding that we've carried forward into July. So we will get that, but we think that there will be a reduction. So part of that carry forward will be needed to fund that amount. We've also got uncertainty over future commitments for education, health and care plans. The numbers did go up last year, but off budgets that we built weren't all used, and we need really to understand whether that's going to continue into next year or whether it is just a blip because of COVID. So we need to try and understand that a bit more to then understand how much of this carry forward is a one-off and actually how much is going to be an ongoing underspend that we could invest elsewhere. And the other thing that will affect us is that there was a high needs funding consultation earlier in the year, and we're still waiting for the outcomes of that. And there's a meeting of finance officers in the southeast this week. We're hoping that we might find out more from the DFE as to when that consultation outcome will be known and what it might be for our future funding. So there is some uncertainty there. But I mean, I think we covered it in the last meeting that, we are, the DSG at the moment looks in a good position, and once we've worked out some of these things, then we'll be in a position to know whether there's investor save opportunities there, and whether or not we also need to go to the Secretary of State to get approval, or whether we will have the delegated authority in Schools Forum from the DSG regulations in order to do what people would like to with the DSG funding for high needs that we've got. So I don't know if there's any questions in that paper.
Thank you, Angela. So does anybody have any questions? So if we do the RTS in the chat, if there is anything. That's okay. If there are no questions, just giving everyone that last bit of, it's very clear in the report, and we're in a decent position, which is a bonus, and we're not always in that, so that's always good news. Okay, so if there aren't any questions, statements, okay, we'll move on then. So we're asked to note the year-end budget position for the dedicated schools grants as at 31st of March 2021, together with the associated explanations contained within this report. Do I have a proposer for approval of the recommendation? Thank you, Chair. And do I have a seconder? Thank you, Jason. So the recommendation has been proposed and seconded. I will now take the vote by affirmation of the meeting as permitted within the regulations. If there is no dissent, the proposal is passed. Are there any objectors to this recommendation? Okay, we don't have any objectors, so thank you. The recommendation has been approved. Over to item 6. So the local authority maintains school balances as at 31st of March, and it's over to Alison for this report. Thank you.
Thank you. This is an annual report to Schools Forum and Cabinet Member to report the year-end position of maintained school revenue and capital balances as at the 31st of March 2021. Section 4 details the year-end position of the revenue balances, with the second table showing the schools that balances overall have increased by just under 0.9 million. Whilst the majority of schools have seen an increase, 6 schools saw a decrease in balances at the end of the financial year, 3 of which had balances in excess of 10% of their budget share and therefore are not of concern. 1 has seen a reduction of less than 25% and is being monitored as part of the regular school meetings, and the remaining 2 have been contacted and the actions are detailed within the report. In addition to those schools with reducing balances, the report also looks at those schools with excessive balances, and at the end of 2021 we saw 2 schools who had uncommitted balances in excess of 20% of their budget share. The schools have been contacted and asked for information regarding their balances and the reason for holding them, and the responses have been detailed within the report. Capital balances are detailed in section 6 of the report, and as with the revenue balances, there has been an increase in capital balances. Mostly this relates to a large capital project being undertaken by one of the secondary schools, and that is expected to decrease over the course of this financial year. It is recommended that Schools Forum note the level of maintained school balances as at the 31st of March and the monitoring action being taken by the Council. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Alison. So it's been quite an unusual year, to say the least. I know on my behalf, our balances have gone up because of COVID. Money we've saved. Does anybody have any questions? No? If we don't, then I don't see any need to go any further. Unless, Alison, you got anything more you want to add? No?
No, I haven't got anything else.
Okay, well, if nobody's got any questions, it's recommended that the Schools Forum notes the level of local authority maintained schools revenue balances and capital balances as at 31st of March 2021, shown in appendices 2 and 3, and the monitoring action taken by the Council. Do I have a proposer for the approval of the recommendation?
Happy to propose, Chair.
Thank you, Jason. Do I have a seconder?
I'm happy to second.
Thank you, Nis. Okay, so that now the recommendation has been proposed and seconded. I'll now take the vote by affirmation of the meeting as permitted within regulations. If there's no dissent, the proposal is passed. Are there any objectors to this recommendation?
Dave, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. It's bound to happen at some point, wasn't it? There are no objectors. Actually, where was I on mute from? I'll do the whole bit again. The recommendation is proposed and seconded. I will now take the vote by affirmation of the meeting as been within regulations. With no dissent, that proposal is passed. Are there any objectors to this recommendation? No. Therefore, thank you. That recommendation has been approved. Over to item 7, the scheme for financing schools, and it's over to Angela.
Thank you. It is an annual review of the authority scheme for financing schools, for maintained schools. It ensures that the recent changes to legislation set out in the schools and early years finance regulations are reflected. So the scheme only relates to maintained schools, and the authority is required to consult with the maintained schools before the scheme is brought to Schools Forum for approval. This year we consulted with maintained schools during the period the 7th to the 18th of June, and the proposed revisions are set out in section 4. So the majority is changes of dates, and also we've had a new corporate system, finance system, so it reflects the name changes there. The constitution included is also got all the changes. That was proposed. There was no responses received to the consultation, and so therefore we recommend to Schools Forum members representing maintained schools that they approve the revised scheme for financing schools as attached. And I don't know whether it's gone slightly out of order on mine. I think it looks as though it's an appendix to the report that Alison's just introduced. So it's slightly just above this report in my pack, but hopefully you found it to look through. And I don't know whether anybody's got any questions.
Okay, thank you, Angela. Obviously, no questions from the consultation. So, any from anyone here? Okay. Well, all the papers tonight are obviously really clear, which is helping us go really smoothly and quickly. So, thank you, Alison and Angela. So it's recommended that Schools Forum members representing maintained schools approve the revised scheme for financing schools attached to Appendix 1 to come into force on the 1st of August 2021. So do I have a proposer for the approval of the recommendation? It needs to be a maintained school member. Who's that? That's Jason.
Thank you. I'll second Dave.
And Jackie Collins to second. Thank you very much. So the recommendation being proposed and seconded. I'll now take the vote by affirmation of the meeting as permitted within regulations. If there is no dissent, the proposal is passed. Are there any objectors to this recommendation? No. So thank you. That recommendation has been approved. So that concludes the meeting for today. So thank you, everybody. Our next meeting is scheduled for the 6th of October. The plan at the moment, I believe, is still that that's a virtual meeting. I think we said at the last meeting that if we felt there was something weighty that we would invite members, we would talk to people about having a face-to-face meeting. Okay, but that's the next meeting. And other than that, I think it's over to Jane, first of all, to let us know when the meeting is closed to stop recording.
Give me a moment, please.